Now, this week, what is it? No, tomorrow. It's today? No, today's Tuesday, right?
Today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday? Oh, man, the time flies. Okay, so tomorrow, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, comes out in theaters. I know a lot of people are excited about seeing it. The official full reviews dropped yesterday, and of course, we talked about it yesterday, and they came out as the second lowest critic rating that the MCU has ever had. And since that time, it has only dropped further. That is now ranking, it holds a 53%. As of this moment, Ant-Man and the Wasp holds 53%, which means literally the critics are completely split. Half the critics like it, half the critics don't. So there you go. Not what the MCU is used to seeing. The MCU is used to seeing 70s as being their low point and whatever. But as of right now, Ant-Man and the Wasp is the second lowest critically rated Marvel film of all time. Now, the big question has been, though, what will the opening weekend be at Ant-Man and the Wasp? And according to reports, they are saying they are now projecting that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is probably going to hit the $95 million mark for its opening weekend. And that's the number. Now, I think we talked a while ago, and I think now this is going back a month or two ago. I said, I think I see it topping out at 120, I think I said. And, you know, the 100, 120, now they're saying it's going to be, they're projecting $95 to $100 million. Now, projections coming from the industry are 95% of the time pretty bang on, but every once in a while, one really breaks expectations. Maybe this one will come in lower, maybe it'll come in higher. We'll have to see. They're projecting at $95 million. So what does that mean for Ant-Man and the Wasp? Well, let's jump over to the classroom for a second. So again, I think the first thing we need to recognize and take a look at here is that this is going to have an effect. The fact that the critic ratings are not glowing and not sparkling, that's going to reduce the number of people who last minute, because, you know, you always get those projections, and if the reviews are really great, there'll be a lot of people on Thursday night or Friday night going, you know, I'm hearing great things about Top Gun Maverick or about, you know, the Batman or about whatever. Let's go see it, right? The 53% on Rotten Tomatoes is going to hinder it. It's not going to kill it. It's not going to kill it by any stretch of the imagination, but it will hinder it a bit. So there you go. All right, let's look at the history of Ant-Man, and we're going to start with the first film, okay? So Ant-Man 1. Ant-Man 1 made $57 million. That's not huge. So the first Ant-Man movie came out. I love that movie. Its opening weekend, it officially made 57. Now, what studios like to see is a trajectory. They want to see in a franchise the box office going up. So then when we move up to Ant-Man 2, they ended up getting that trajectory because it went from $57 million to $76 million. Okay, still not huge by Marvel standards by any stretch of the imagination, but it is the trajectory. It made more money than the previous. So with Ant-Man 3 on course for, say, $95 million, and again, maybe it'll come in a little bit above that, maybe it'll hit that $100 million mark, whatever. That's not bad. Again, it's not up to the standards that Marvel has come to expect of their movies, but Ant-Man has always been one of their smaller franchises. And if it does hit 95, while I think that has to be looked at as a disappointing number for them, it at the very least for Marvel continues this trajectory, right? That every new movie that they put out in this sub-franchise continues to make more and more and more and more. That's what they're looking for. Now, let's put this in, you know, some perspective with some other superhero movies that have come out in the last year or so. You know, so we understand that within the context of Ant-Man movies, a $95 million opening ain't bad in terms of Ant-Man movies. Again, it's the next step up. Well, when we compare it to other, say, franchises that have come out, say, in the last year or so, all right, a $95 million compares well with Black Adam. Black Adam had a $67 million opening. For Ant-Man, that's pretty good. But then when you go down the list of the remaining three big comic book films that come out in the last year, it doesn't hold up so well. I mean, Black Panther 2, which granted it was Black Panther, but that movie made $181 million opening weekend. We're talking double what Ant-Man's projected to make. Thor: Love and Thunder, which was pretty divisive amongst a bunch of people, but that movie still made $141 million opening weekend. Doctor Strange 2 was the best of them all, made $187 million on its opening weekend. And even if you go back into the realm of DC, well, maybe Black Adam didn't compare so well to it, but the Batman, first film in its franchise with Twilight boy playing the lead. That movie still made $131 or $134 million opening weekend. So, well, when we take a look at these numbers, if it does indeed come in at that $95 million range, not bad for the Ant-Man franchise, but comparatively for a Marvel film with your first big Kang presence, I know he was in Loki, but that was just, minor. Your first big Kang presence supposed to be set up as your next big baddie for phase 5 and maybe phase 6. And you compare it to the other comic book films that have come out this year. Granted, a lot of these were sequels to bigger franchises. Listen, good for the Ant-Man franchise. But I think if we're just being real, Disney's got to say this will be a little bit of a disappointing number. This will be a bit of a disappointment. Now, I never thought that any Ant-Man film could come out and have $150 million, $200 million opening. But even I, who has been playing it a little bit more conservative, even I think if it does make 95, 96, 97, I don't think there's any other way to spin it other than I think this will be considered a little bit of a letdown for them. And if the movie isn't better than the critic ratings are suggesting it is, it ain't going to have big word of mouth moving forward. And it's not going to have a lot of repeat viewings. Again, I can't say that definitively because I haven't watched the movie yet. I'm watching it tomorrow. But it's going to start off disappointing. And if it's not better than what they're saying it is, it ain't going to have great legs either. So I don't know. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right, they are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the code Campea for 20% off and free shipping. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard. So no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. You also get the beard shampoo and conditioner. Because guys, you gotta remember that all of your hair is different. Your beard hair is more coarse and easier to damage than the hair on your head. Next, the kit has Manscaped's beard oil. The oil relieves dryness both on the beard and the skin beneath. You then cap it off with the Beard Balm that shapes, styles, moisturizes, and tames for a sculpted look. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 special gifts: a beard brush, comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code Campea at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code Campea. Manscaped Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths. Chris, you see these numbers, they're projecting right now 95 million, maybe it comes in at the 100, 105 million range, but how do you think Marvel should interpret this if it does indeed come in at these numbers, 95, 96, 97? What do you think?
I mean, they need to have stronger numbers than this, though. These movies cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
They need to get the return on this. And these have been so mixed from the people I've heard who have seen this, like looking at Twitter too, just seeing how people are reacting to it. It feels like no one's seen the same movie. It feels like everyone has their own interpretation of what was happening. And I brought up last week, my friends who went and saw it, they said, it's a movie, which isn't the most ringing endorsement. And I feel like that's how a lot of these last few movies have been. And maybe that is because people are feeling some sort of superhero fatigue, or maybe it's because we had such a big buildup to, Infinity War and everything like that. How do you follow up with those films? How do you follow up after something like Shang-Chi? How do you really, really deliver in a Marvel film? Because we also have these huge expectations now. And I think that's another one that I know I'm running into with Quantumania is, oh my gosh, we're setting up Kang. Oh, this movie is going to have huge ramifications for the MCU. And I keep going into the movies with that thought in my mind. This is going to have huge ramifications for the greater MCU. And I need to put that aside. But also maybe Marvel needs to start stringing a few things together. I haven't seen this movie, so I can't say whether or not they do that. But I think they need to have a clearer, more concise plan moving forward. Because what worked so well before was decades of work, right? And now we're trying to kind of come back in and recreate the same recipe with all new people or all new situations. They've got an uphill battle. We all loved Tony Stark. We all loved Captain America. Are we going to love these other people who are coming in, or some of these B-listers who are now stepping into their power a bit more?
Rob, we're seeing the critic rating is obviously already much lower than they'd like to see it. It makes it the lowest of the Ant-Man films and the second lowest of the MCU as a whole. let's say it comes in at 95 million for argument's sake right now. And again, it could come in a little bit higher than that. But let's say it comes in at 95 million. It will make it the biggest opening for an Ant-Man film, but relatively low compared to the other superhero films we've seen come out in the last year or so, notwithstanding Black Adam. If it does come out at this, how should Marvel be looking at this, and how do you think they should take it?
Well, I think that there's been if you look at Iron Man 1, John, Iron Man 1 is a pretty simple story about a man who has to confront his own shortcomings, the fact that he has a crisis of conscience, confronting the fact that his company makes weapons and he himself was almost destroyed by them. And it's a fairly intimate film. I think what Marvel has done, and I think it's now becoming problematic film after film after film, all of these movies have become so huge. Let's introduce Namor. Let's have all these global conflicts. I look at Quantumania and I think to myself, one of the great charms of the Ant-Man movies was they were on a small scale. You're dealing with Paul Rudd and literally his relationship with Scott Lang with his daughter, or with Hope, or with Pym, Hank Pym, and they were stories about a dude trying to make his way in the world. A former ex-con finds this quantum technology, becomes Ant-Man. This film, as you've pointed out, is such a dramatic change from the first two Ant-Man movies. It's no longer a heist movie. They've literally pivoted into this giant science fiction. There's freedom fighters, and there's different societies, and there's Kang, and there's all this stuff going on that's supposed to be setting up the rest of the Marvel phase 5, 6, 7, or whatever. And I think what's lost in it, what's the story of Ant-Man this time? What's going on? And the thing is, Ant-Man's story is now secondary to furthering the needs of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think...
Well, we don't know that. We haven't seen the movie yet.
Well, I'm judging just the reviews that I've read.
Right.
People saying it's like Star Wars, and seeing how big it is, where the thing is, it should really still be a story about Scott Lang. And while I know he's going to come into conflict with Kang, and it'll be a great comic book story, at the end of the day, are we going to get a satisfying story about Ant-Man and the Wasp? Because all this other stuff is just this cacophony of noise, and you're waiting to find out. And all. I think that what Marvel is they're losing the personal, and they were good at having that balance. Captain America movies, the 3 Captain America movies were pretty good, as big as they got, always keeping the focus on Steve Rogers and something going on in his life, whether it was protecting Bucky, whether it was protecting what he believed in. It always came down to him. Whereas this movie, it's about Quantumania. It's not necessarily about Scott Lang and Ant-Man. So, look, I'm really looking forward to this movie, to be honest. I love science fiction movies. And I think the reason that this movie might have a low critic score is I think it's sometimes just too much for people. Science fiction movies and all this craziness, not everyone likes all of that. They're not used to that. And the thing about the Ant-Man movies is they gave you a lot of good humor. They were fun. They were comedic. And Paul Rudd's comedic. And now he's put into a situation where it looks pretty intense. And are we missing the Paul Ruddism at all? I don't know.
Okay, so let me ask you the question again. If this movie does make $95 million, how should Marvel look at that?
Not good. I think this movie they spent a lot of money on this movie, a lot more than the other Ant-Man movies. I think they expected this movie. They even talked about it. This is our Civil War.
You're right. Peyton Reed said, I don't want to be a palate cleanser anymore. Yeah. This is an Avengers level movie.
And that's what he wanted to do. That's what they were seeking out. That's what they were hoping for. They're looking for those kinds of numbers. And I find it interesting that they would expect to get them from a franchise that hasn't delivered those numbers in the past. Well, now he's an Avenger. Maybe he's part of it. But he was a reluctant Avenger.
All right, guys. Question is for you. The projections right now are that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania are going to be aiming for about a $95 million opening weekend. Could come in a little bit higher than that, could come in a little bit lower. But at that, and being the biggest opening for an Ant-Man film, but not comparing so well to a lot of the other comic book films that have come out lately, do you think Marvel should look at that as a success? The 53% right now isn't boding well for it, but hey, maybe this thing can still do well. How are you guys interpreting it, and how should Marvel interpret it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.